Today we are comparing the two Tracfone Androids now available for you. Both of these phones are good phones. They're actually, I would say, really good phones for the Tracfone service. Now, on the left here we have the ZTE Valet. This one retails for $99.99. The features on this one are a 1 gig processor, Android 4.1, which is Jelly Bean, and a 3 megapixel camera. The screen dimensions are 3.5 inches. Now on the right we have the Samsung Centura. This one comes to you with an 800 megahertz processor and Android 4.0, which is ice cream sandwich. So this is one version older than this one. It also has a 3 megapixel camera, and it too has a 3.5 inch screen measured diagonally. The Valet retails for $99.99 and the Centura retails for $129.99. Don't ask me why the lesser of the two in terms of specs costs more. I guess it's probably just because it's a Samsung and the other one is a Chinese brand in the form of ZTE, not as well known. So I guess that's the reason for the price difference. The other difference, which I'll note on these phones, is the fact that for some reason the ZTE comes with a 4 gig SD card all included. The camera does have an LED flash built into it, which is always nice to have. Whereas on the Centura, we do not get an SD card for some reason, even though it costs more. I haven't taken mine out. This is how it came out of the box. Maybe I got a bum phone, I don't know. Maybe you'll get one, but my experience has been is if it doesn't come with one, then it just doesn't come with one. So you don't get an SD card on this Centura. This camera does not have an LED flash either. So that's another thing to note. So right off the bat, I think you're getting a pretty good idea of which is what I would recommend. This one right here, the Valet, because you get more for less. Now, as far as the design goes, I think you'll find that the Centura is a more attractive phone because it has this nice chrome look bezel around it, which makes the phone look real modern and sleek and new. Whereas this one is all black. Nothing real flashy about it. It does have this gloss trim going around the perimeter of the phone. It's a charcoal gray, I guess almost black, but it's not the metallic look, and essentially the whole phone is just black. Now, as far as the shape of them and the size of them, they are essentially the same size. The ZTE feels a little bit chunkier. Putting them, side by side, you might find that the ZTE is slightly larger and maybe a little bit thicker, though I think they're actually both about the same thickness. Now, as far as design goes, both phones are all plastic construction, which you'd expect on entry-level phones like this. Both phones have capacitive touch buttons at the bottom. The difference between these is that the Centura here does not have a light sensor. I have a light to the left of me, and obviously I press the buttons, they light up. Whereas the Valet actually has a light sensor built into it, I'll go ahead and cover it up here. Well, that's where the light sensor is. And now the buttons light up. Now you'll notice that on the Centura the buttons are brighter. So that is one difference. But again, the Centura does not have the nice light sensor built into it. Now, the next thing I'll mention, which I've noticed on these phones, is the fact that the Wi-Fi is not quite as good as on the Valet. My Wi-Fi is on the other side of the house, and I don't know if you can tell on the video, but there is no connectivity right now on the Valet. Whereas in the Centura, we have about half signal, but so it varies between half and I guess between good and poor connection, but it will connect. Whereas again, the Valet is no connectivity on the Wi-Fi. So if that's a concern for you, then maybe you want to pay the extra 30 bucks for the better Wi-Fi. That's up to you. Now, as far as the calling plans are concerned, both phones will use identical calling plans. Both phones are CDMA, so both phones will be activated with either Verizon or Sprint. There's no difference there. So I guess to sum it up, there's pluses and minuses for both of these. On the Valet side, we have a faster processor in 1 gigahertz. We have a nicer camera because it comes with LED flash. We get a 4 gig SD card, and it only costs you 99 bucks. So the ZTE is actually a better value, I would say, despite the fact that the Wi-Fi isn't the best. I'm not gonna say it's not all that great. If I walk maybe 10 feet behind me, it will connect. So not the best, so do be aware of that. Now on the Centura side, we get good Wi-Fi connectivity, as you can see. It's a nicer looking phone. You have that chrome look bezel around the screen, which makes it look nicer. So it looks a little bit sleeker. Now you don't get as powerful a processor. This one's only 800 megahertz, and you do get an older, though slightly older Android version in the form of 4.0 versus 4.1 on the Valet. And finally, the camera, no LED flash, where you do get one on the Valet. And lastly is the 4 gig SD card, which you don't get on the Centura. So that about wraps it up on these two phones. If I were going to spend my money on one, I would go for the Valet, simply because you get a more bang for your buck. If I were going to go with looks, I would go with the Centura, but that's totally up to you. And that's really about all there is to say about these two phones. Both use the same calling plan, same cards, same everything. Only differences is what I've mentioned in the video.